Good day and happy Wednesday. I'm Heidi.
You have a child that's just plain old difficult to deal with.
I think that's sort of kids in general. It doesn't matter the age. Kids do know how to manipulate and pit their parents against each other.
So what should you do to keep the peace in your house? We're going to find out with Jim West when we come back. All right, this morning, are you waking up with a headache that your kids are causing? Children, whether they're 5 or 15, well, they can be difficult at times and they can pit you against your partner. So how do you deal with that and make the peace around the house? And here with us this morning is Jim West. He is a licensed counselor and child expert with Total Life Counseling. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Good to be here, Amy.
Let's talk first about how a parent is able to know whether their child being difficult is just normal. This is like a normal process that every child goes through, or is there an underlying issue? Is there something else going on there?
You know, sometimes these children that are difficult, they have a strong will. Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing when you get it going in the right direction. So learning how to, it's like being a good sailor. A good parent is like a good sailor that can sail into a headwind and still get that boat to go where it needs to go. And if you can get that child, that strong will, going in the right direction, it's a good thing. So sometimes these difficult children are going to be strong leaders one day, mm-hmm. but sometimes we butt heads because we don't validate their feelings or empathize with them.
Let's talk about, these kids who are constantly against you, no matter what, okay, we're going to go brush your teeth. No, it's just that constant battle. It's always going on in the house. I mean, is that normal?
I don't think that's not necessarily normal. I think most kids don't really want to brush their teeth initially. They don't want to go to the bathroom. Some kids don't want to stop to play. They don't want to stop playing to go to the bathroom.
Right.
So they can fight you on different things. So getting them into healthy hygiene patterns is difficult, I think, for most parents.
Well, how do you get them to work with you instead of against you? What are ways that parents can actually get the child to think, oh, this is a good idea and not necessarily something I want to go against?
Well, it's important that the parents are on the same page. If the parents are on the same page, then that difficult child won't get what they want from the passive parent. So getting the parents on the same page is important. Then having a routine and a structure. If you fudge their bedtime, if you say, oh, you can stay up 5 minutes later, and you don't let that happen the next day, they're going to get really angry. So it's important to have really good structure. There's also the 4 T's.
Right.
There's triggers. Mm-hmm. We want to be careful about saying no before we validate their feelings. When they want to do something, can I stay up a little later? No, it's your bedtime. Well, they're going to get that temporary insanity. That's another T.
Right.
Watch the temporary, when they get temporarily insane, they're going to try to pull you into what they're doing. And in a court of law, a judge will not sentence someone when they're temporarily insane. They'll send them to a psych ward to get evaluated.
Right.
When they're deemed competent, then they bring them back and then they nail their butt to the wall.
Right.
So we got to watch the temporary insanity. We need to watch our tone.
Okay.
We need to talk quietly to them. We need to lower our voices when they're angry, because if they see you raise your voice, they feel they've won emotionally. And then be careful not to make threats. If you make a threat, the one with the most energy wins. Mm. I remember a parent in a restaurant who told me, she said, we had a really rough weekend at the restaurant. My son cussed at me across the table, and I said, if you say that one more time, I'm going to slap you. And I knew exactly what he did, because she could not make him not cuss.
Right,
so you got to be careful not to say things you can't control. So that's important.
And when it comes to discipline, what do you suggest as far as discipline for when they do calm down? Because I think that's another thing that a lot of parents struggle with. Right. How do I discipline them once they are calm?
Sure. Well, actually, that's a good base. Last week we talked about the APC plan.
Right.
So when they actually break trust with you, after they calm down, that is the time to give them a consequence, not when they're angry. So that's when they need to relationship, apologize, and do something to make it up to you. So do a chore for you, and let them resume their privileges at that time.
All right, Jim West from Total Life Counseling.
Sure.
Thanks so much for being here this morning. As
Thank
always,
you, Amy.
it's excellent advice.
I appreciate it.
All right, let's send it back over now to Mike for a look at this morning's top headlines. Mike.
Learned a lot there, Amy.